Hello, and welcome to the fourth installment of Charisse Monè't, A Word on Books. As always, thank you to everybody for the feedback and the comments. I've even had people that have asked me to read their books and think that this would be a great platform for me to review their books, so thank you. That means a lot to me. This week, I want to get right into talking about the books. I am going to ask, though, that you do keep your questions and your comments and your feedback coming. I really, truly appreciate it. And I'm hoping that as I continue to do this, that I become better. And I can only become better if you make me better. So please keep it coming. Subscriptions are going up. The comments are going up. So I just need you to keep doing what you're doing so that I can keep doing what I'm doing. I need you to blow me up. Today, I want to talk to you about books that went to movies. So, interesting genre. I won't spend a great deal of time talking about in-depth compare and contrast. I'm just going to talk about them and give you a little feedback on what people thought about the books versus the movies. In most cases, you'll find that books that were books before movies usually are better. And the reason they're better is because of the amount of detail. You're going to see the drastic amount of time that that happens between the length of a book versus a movie. The first one I want to talk about is 50 Shades of Grey. Now, 50 Shades of Grey was one of a trilogy, and it was written by E.L. James. And the person that did the narration was Becca Bateau. Now, I'm going to tell you right now to sit down because you're really going to think I'm nuts. This particular book was almost 20 hours. 20 hours of audio. This book came out April 2012. So, the whole premise of this book was there was a student, her name was Anastasia Steele, due to just things happening the way they did, she got the opportunity of interviewing this very wealthy gentleman named Christian Grey. Christian Grey was a little freaky. He was into bondage and submissive and domination and all this, all the good freaky stuff. I ended up listening to the book because everybody I knew was reading the book. So I listened to the book. I actually enjoyed the book. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't remarkable, but it was an enjoyable book. I will tell you that I did, and if the request is made, I will review and compare all three books on one segment if you like, because I did listen to all of them, because if it's a trilogy, for me, I can't just stop at one. You guys know by now I got to get to the end. I got to see what's going to happen. Now, what was interesting about this is that this 20-hour book was condensed to two and a half hours, I believe. Yeah, it was down to about 2 hours. Dakota Johnson was in this, and Jamie Dornan. Those were your two leading characters in the movie. Now, the movie itself, according to Rotten Tomatoes, it got an E. So although I thought the book was okay and it was a decent book, the movie, it was alright. It couldn't stick true to the book because the book was so raunchy. I mean, it was so detailed, and I kept trying to figure out how they were going to turn it into a movie without it being a porn. I will tell you this, though. They did a better job with the second one, but that's a topic for another day. So, as far as E.L. James, part one of her trilogy, 50 Shades of Grey, I'll say it was okay. It was good. Wasn't great. Wasn't really good. I'll say that's 3 glasses. Cheers. Oh, wonderful. The next book to movie I want to talk about was Gone Girl. Gone Girl was by Gillian Flynn, and oh man, that book was another one. That book was also 20 hours long. It was a really good book, though. I mean, she's a really good writer. the narrator. There were two narrators. There were Julia, Wayland, and Kirby Hayborn. So it was kind of being told from both sides, the husbands and the wife's sides. And it was Nick Dunn and his wife Amy. And the whole thing of this is that you had this married couple that had issues and they had drama, and the wife disappeared. And in the process, they didn't have a body, but they had blood and they had all these things, and they were accusing the husband when really she plotted her own disappearance because she didn't want to be with him anymore, and she was going to take him down with her. There's a twist and a turn to this. The book, phenomenal. 20 hours, but she did such an amazing job painting a picture of what was happening that when you saw the movie, which was condensed to 2.5 hours. So the book came out in 2012 and the movie came out in 2014. When the movie came out, Mike Dunn was played by Ben Affleck, and I thought that was a good casting for him. And Amy was played by Rosamund Pike. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, forgive me. But I found the book and the movie to align enough that you missed a lot of the little details that you got in the book, but the big picture kind of came across from book. It translated well, I should say, from book to movie. So I was okay with that. Again, I found the audiobook, which is what I'm here to review. I found the audiobook to be really, really amazing. That's 5 glasses, whole bottle. Cheers to you. Great job on that. It was just an amazing one. Overall, I mentioned earlier that 50 Shades of Grey got an E as far as a movie, according to Rotten Apples. Gone Girl got a very high B. B plus, A minus in that area. Was a very good movie as well. Another one that I'm going to talk to you about was The Help by Catherine Stockett. This book came out in 2009 and it became a movie in 2011. The actual book was 18 hours long. So these audiobooks can get pretty long, but these are the audiobooks that I found that translate better to movies because it's more in-depth, it's more detailed, and it paints a picture. What was interesting about this is that in the audiobook, there were 4, actually 5 if you count the publisher from Penguin Audio. There were 5 narrators. One was Jenna Lamia, Bonnie Turpin, Octavia Spencer, and Cassandra Campbell. What I found interesting is that Octavia Spencer, who also narrated in the audiobook, also starred in the movie along with Jessica Chastain, Viola Davis, Bryce Dallas, Howard, Allison Janney, and Emma Stone. So the book, again, this book was 18 hours long, and it was a really good book. And what I love about it is that when you get into a book and it has like different character voices, if you have any type of imagination, you kind of figure out who these people are, what they look like, and you bond with these characters. And I think they were spot on when they did the casting for the movies. So Catherine Stockett, The Help, the audio, 18 hours well spent. It was an amazing book. And it also did really well. I think it ended up with a B minus, C plus. I personally thought it was a very good movie as well. Of course, you can never feed me chocolate pie again in life. But for the book, audio, another one, I'll give that one 5 glasses, which is an entire bottle. And what would my narration or my reviews be without a throwback? This throwback is interesting. The throwback, last but not least, I want to talk to you about my throwback. My throwback this week is One for the Money. This is book 1 by Janet Ivanovich. This book, I think it was originally, it came out in 1996, but it went on audio in June 2011. This book was 8.5 hours long. It was narrated by C.J. Critt, and it's the Stephanie Plum series. Now, since this book came out, there has been 20 plus more to follow it. However, this was the only movie that came out, and that's because the movie sucked. Sorry. I love the Janet Ivanovich books. I do. I own them all. But the movie, it didn't translate well to movies. And this is what I found. Sometimes when you do a book and you describe a character and you create this character that's bigger than life, excuse me, and then you go to cast that character, it doesn't always work too well. It doesn't always translate the way you want it to translate. The movie was about an hour and a half. It starred Stephanie Plum as Catherine. It was played by Catherine Height. Her first love interest, Joseph Morelli, was played by Jason Omari, and then there's Ranger, that was played by a gentleman named Daniel Shanjanta. I apologize. And then there was Lula, who's a key character, played by Sherry Shepherd. Movie came out in 2012. Basically, the whole Stephanie Plum series is she's a bounty hunter. She lives in the Burgh, and she lost her job in a lingerie factory, and she went to go work for her uncle as a bounty hunter. And she's not very good at being a bounty hunter. And this is more of a comical series. Again, I really like her books. Halfway through, though, what I've noticed is that over a period of time, she's changed the character voices, which kind of sucks for me because I've gotten used to a certain character's voice, and then all of a sudden it changes, and it's almost like watching a soap opera, and you're expecting somebody to be somebody, and the part this week is being played by, and it's hard to make the connection. At least it is for me. My biggest problem with the translation from the book to the movie was Lula. Lula was my character, bigger than life. She's a black hooker. How they came to be, everything that happened, it was very descriptive in the book. It was some violence in there. You know, she was trying to leave her pimp, but she was trying to help Stephanie Plum, and it's just like, and they kind of glossed over it. And this was nothing against Sherry Shepherd. I really feel like it had a lot to do with the screenplay, the translation screenplay, and just the overall. I don't know if that's a role that I would have put her in. The movie, I can tell you right now, according to Rotten Tomatoes, it got an E. And the fact that she's written 20 plus more books and she's never done another movie on her series, that lets you know that she realizes that it wasn't good for her and she just stuck with writing books. But as far as Janet Ivanovich goes on my throwback, One for the Money as a book was a really good book. Really good book for me is 4.5 glasses. So cheers, Janet. Keep writing. And just so you know, and you have figured out, I'm really into series. If you recall, I talked about Sue Grafton and how she did the alphabet, and she's already on X. So I'm looking at Janet Ivanovich, and I think that was smart that she did numbers, because that means that she can write indefinitely. With that said, I want to thank you guys for your time. I really enjoy talking to you guys about something that I love, audio books. I also love written books. I'll be vacationing soon, so I'm actually going to throw in some books that I actually sit down and read. That's the only time I read, is when I actually go on vacation. So I look forward to talking to you all soon, and you take care and have an amazing weekend. Bye.